active practice and business called Soul Source Healing, situated in Bayfield, Ontario. This video is to talk about what is quantum healing hypnosis and why you might want to have a session, and also what to look for in a practitioner. And then the next video, I will link it below, will be the video on tips to have a successful and powerful session. So quantum healing hypnosis is a methodology, a hypnosis technique developed by Dolores Cannon over her 50-year career as a hypnotherapist. She began in partnership with her husband, who was also a hypnotherapist, helping war veterans process what we now know is called post-traumatic stress disorder, but at the time they did not have words for. So they were helping people regress to traumatic moments and kind of undo the stuckness and the limitation that that traumatic experience had that was affecting their life in the present moment. So quantum healing hypnosis really, whether you're talking about investigating a past life or this life, all of the things are still not in this present time, right? We are able to time travel. We just don't think about it that way very often because, we just don't think about it that way. That going back to an earlier memory is us actually time traveling back to another space and time. And then it's not too much of a stretch, really, to know that we can do that through space and time, through different lifetimes, and through different dimensions, and sometimes even into different realities or lifetimes in different kinds of bodies, or even on different planetary systems. Now, all of these things happened and were kind of learned about through the hypnosis sessions themselves as Dolores Cannon continued in her career. So then she found herself with, oh, now all of a sudden, like, people are slipping into the most appropriate time and place to go and look at and untie whatever the stuckness is in this present moment. And she was surprised when people were describing a different place, a different location, a different time, or a different body than the one that the person was being hypnotized is currently in. So it was a wonderful career and journey of learning about consciousness and learning about time. And I am deeply grateful for Dolores Cannon for choosing to follow her heart and know that this was an important thing to share the methodology of, so that other practitioners can continue this work. So I am so honored to work in the tradition of Dolores Cannon. So I also, in my career so far, have experienced through the people on the table or on the bed incredible things, and it's expanded my awareness. So I'm endlessly curious and endlessly fascinated by the process of quantum healing hypnosis. We have a part of us that can access information that hasn't been gathered in this physical lifetime. There's a part of us that knows things and can tap into wisdom that's connected to the all. So some people call this higher self, you could call it source consciousness, you could call it the subconscious, but there's a part of us that has the records of everything that's ever happened to us in this lifetime and in all the other lifetimes that we have ever lived. So when we go into a session, we're focused on the person in this present moment. So if you come to me for a session, I want to know about your life right now. Your childhood, challenges, relationships, your career, your hopes and dreams, your fears, your patterns, everything. I'm curious about you. And this present lifetime is the most important lifetime to focus on. And we have to know why we're having a session. Because I do believe when we approach the timeless, when we approach the sacred, and when we're asking for divine support to heal and to guide us, that we do that with respect. So I don't like to have a session where someone's just coming without knowing why they're there. Just kind of, I say that's like going to Google and not putting anything in the search bar, or just being flippant about it. The quality of what you get back reflects the respect and intention with which you approach. So that's really important for me. However, if you have relationship issues, physical issues, everything is energetic and can be tied to either things that have happened in this lifetime or into another lifetime. And in the session, we ask source consciousness or the subconscious to guide us to the most appropriate time and place. And that's where things get fun, because we have no idea where we're going to go. In a quantum healing hypnosis session, when you go into that regression and we've asked source to guide us to the most appropriate time and place, you could end up in an earlier lifetime. You could end up in the womb. You could slip into another lifetime. I've had people be on um, different planets, and I've had people go into the body, the experience of being in a physical body that isn't even human. And we just trust wherever we go, whatever we see, because we've sent the intention and we know why we're on the mission, and we've asked source consciousness to guide us to the most appropriate time and place, that is actually the place that holds the key to unlock the healing that you're seeking in this present lifetime and in this present moment, to go forward in freedom and expansion and joy and health and ease, or at least to understand on a soul level why perhaps certain challenges are happening, because they have something important to teach you. There are certain things we can change, and there are certain things we can't change, and we have to have the wisdom to know the difference. The serenity prayer right there. And then there's an aspect of the session where we get to kind of recede from the information gathering piece and then ask directly of your source consciousness, your higher self, or your subconscious, however you like to speak of it. Ask the questions of why we saw what we saw, how it relates to your lifetime in this present time, and also asks for embodiment suggestions, like how can this wisdom actually be put into practice for you to go forward in a more aligned way, or a more peaceful way, a more loving way, a more free and expansive way, because this lifetime is sacred, though you are connected to the all and through all space and time. So that is what a quantum healing hypnosis session is. And if you are curious and wanting to seek a session, I'm aware that I'm putting this on YouTube, so people are going to be all over the world who might see this, who are interested in quantum healing hypnosis. It is very important that if you are going to seek a practitioner, that you choose one who is operating in alignment with the principles suggested by Dolores Cannon, which is a session has to be done in person. Every single time I have a session, I am just floored in the back of my mind sometimes that some people are out there saying that this kind of work and the depth of work can be accomplished online, and it simply cannot. When you are on the hypnosis bed and I am beside you, I'm looking at everything. I'm with you. I'm aware of your breath rate and the movement of your eyes and the movement of your body, and sometimes suggestions need to be made because you can come into a really intense past life or early life memories, and I want to keep you safe. If you're honoring me with your trust to go on this kind of journey, I take that as a sacred duty to make sure that you are held safe and that you are fully processed and integrated before you go back out into the world. So, red flag if you are looking for a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner and they suggest this can be done online. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, it's possible to do certain kinds of like light trance hypnosis work online perhaps, but it would only be safe to be operating at a particular level. And if you really want a deep, life-changing soul expansion journey, choose someone who will do it in person. So that's the first thing. I'm in Bayfield, Ontario, so yes, sometimes people travel here to um, come and be with me, and I'm so honored when people do that. And it's a real investment. So the second thing is, yeah, make sure that you have a conversation with them, or that you really know and trust their energy, because this person is like, you know, you're guaranteeing someone access to your inner world, and that's important. Second thing to look for if you're looking for a quantum healing hypnosis session would be that the person, the practitioner, honors the time, right? This is not something that can be done like a get in, get out in a couple of hours. For me, I block out an entire day and would only ever have one session a day. It takes minimum 5 hours. I've never had a session be less than that, except for in one or two circumstances where I know the person, we've already had a session, so we don't need to spend quite as much time at the beginning to really understand each other's energy, because they already trust me and I already know them and their story and their family history and their that's the only situation. Other than that, typically it takes about 5 hours. It's 2 hours before we have a sense of the mission, before we go into the actual hypnosis work. And that's me wanting to know everything about you and wanting to understand your story, so that I am empowered with enough context for whatever might arise to be able to ask better questions so that you have a better outcome. So look for somebody who's going to do it in person and who honors the time, that it's going to be at least a 5 hour session. And then the third piece is a session is always recorded, always, so that you can listen to it after and continue to process and integrate and understand and be in the frequency of it. And then also is a piece of safety for you, that you know that, say, if you are in a really deep trance theta state, that, I'm not messing around or implanting things, so that you know that there's integrity with the session. So those are three important things. And just to further the conversation around what quantum healing hypnosis is, you get guided into a theta brainwave state. A theta brainwave state is familiar to everybody because all of us go through it at least twice a day, on the way into sleep and on the way back out of sleep. If you've ever had the experience of that in between wake and sleep period that you are aware of, that feels like you're just so close, you can like see through the veil, and there's something that's so profound, like you understood everything for a moment and you had access to something really incredible, but then like you just can't hold on to it. That was on the way through theta. That is the part, that's the place, that brainwave state where you have access to source, you have access to wisdom that's beyond space and time. And in the session, you get inducted, and I get to hold the space and guide you into a state where you have access to that brainwave state and to bring through information, but you remain conscious and you remain speaking, which is fascinating. In the past, when people had this hypnosis done to them, you'd be in an amnesiac state, so you wouldn't remember the session, which was why the recording was even more important in that situation, because then you listen to the recording after being like, oh my god, like I said all this epic shit. Now it's a blessing and a challenge at the same time. Human consciousness has evolved. Hypnotists or hypnosis practitioners, hypnotherapists have had a front row seats to the shift in human consciousness as the earth has shifted in vibration, and as we are able to attune to higher levels of vibration and remain conscious. In the past, people would not remember. Now, almost everybody has a part of their consciousness that's aware and listening and watching, and still kind of could try to control things a little bit, which is where the challenge is. But there's a part of you that's conscious and watching yourself bring through this information. So if you can think about right brain, left brain is like linear, analytical, kind of structured and meaning making, and wants to understand things. We kind of ask the left brain to take a little step back, kind of say it's like a baby being put in a little backpack where they can watch what's happening, but they don't get to control the show or walk the feet. And then we let the right brain and that image, that intuitive, symbolic part of the brain bring through information. So that it's like the left brain watching the right brain. It's really cool. And then allowing it through. And then the great gift of this, beyond the healing that happens in a session, is that you have that 2 hour window where you've been held in theta, giving information, and you can remember the feeling of your left brain taking a step out of the way so that the right brain can download wisdom. And you get to carry that forward in your life, because there are moments where sometimes we might block download because we try to analyze it too quickly or don't trust ourselves. But you can carry that gift forward where you can have that, create that bit of space in your mind to let something flow through, because we all have access to source wisdom all the time. And then we get to learn how to tune into it like we're tuning the frequency dial on the radio. Anyway, that's what quantum healing hypnosis is, and some tips for how to seek an aligned practitioner if you are wanting to do some really deep level healing in your life. And thank you for everybody who's joined here. My name is Jennifer Rayburn, and Soul Source Healing is my business. And yes, I'm doing this live, but I will have this saved and published on my personal YouTube channel, which is Jennifer Rayburn and Soul Source Healing. So I also do sound, yoga, and embodiment, because to me, all of these things are working together. This is the aspect of what I do that's the most kind of like the deepest one-on-one work that I do with people. But I do then think that we need support and practice to help us embody what we have learned and what we know. So there's one thing to know something, and there's another thing to practice it and embody it. And so to me, everything is about knowing and helping empower everybody that I work with and everybody out there in the world that your truth is found within you and in your heart. And especially in this day and age, when anything you see out there in the world and on the internet may be true or may not be true, you have to have a practice of checking in with your own body and your own heart to see what actually resonates and feels right for you. So you are the one who knows, you are the one who feels, and our bodies are like the most important tool for checking in with resonance, for sure. So that's all really important. And that's also why I chose to do this live, so that I'm just talking and in my present moment. It's not scripted, it's not, it's imperfect, and it's human, and it's from my heart. And I think, oh gosh, we just need so much more of that in this world. And we definitely don't need the other stuff. So, okay, I wish you all beauty on your path. And if you feel called to follow along for the journey and the other things that I share, I would be very, very honored. So, namaste. Take care.